Ranking the top 10 running backs from the 2025 NFL Draft. Post-draft, Ashton Jeanty does not move from the top for me, but Keith has Omarion Hampton as a potential offensive rookie of the year candidate. We're going to talk about all of this and more coming up next.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson. I'm an offensive draft analyst with Bleacher Report. That's my guy, Keith Sanchez. He is a director of scouting with the Draft Network and 2019 national champion with those LSU Tigers. And as always, guys, thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. We are keeping that kind of top 10 post-draft positional rankings theme going, and we're going with the running backs. We're going to talk about those top guys, the creme de la creme, and who fell into the right situations to be productive. We'll get into the middle tier guys and the guys at the back end that can still make plays, but maybe we don't like their situation nearly as much. But before we get into that, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Keith, oh man, when you look at this running back class, I think when we did our last top 10, you said it was fun, but it was stressful because it's so many backs in this class, and then you look at the draft and it was just like, yeah, a lot of guys got drafted, and guys, because of this class, guys got drafted higher than we expected because of team preference. Some guys got drafted lower than we expected.
100%.
So like when you look at the top, Keith, we were kind of on this the entire time. We might have gotten two running backs in the first round, which we did. Ashton Jeanty, Omarion Hampton. Keith, for me, number one, I stick with Ashton Jeanty at 1. I got Omarion Hampton at 2 post draft. And for me, Ashton Jeanty walks into a running back room where you look at the talent. I think it's like Sincere McCormick, Raheem Mostert, solid guys, right? Raheem's been a veteran, has had success in this league. But when you look at it, it's not anybody that's going to threaten him to take him off the field the way he won't get 90% of the snaps in the backfield, right? Whether there's no true pass catching back that can usurp him and take him off the field because he catches the ball out of the backfield. They just didn't throw it to him in 2024. I think this guy's in for a bell cow type of usage with Pete Carroll now in Las Vegas with the Raiders. Chip Kelly, we saw what Chip Kelly did last year in 2024 with Quinshon and TreVeyon Henderson at Ohio State. When he wanted to run the ball, they ran the ball, and I think he's going to really run the rock. And then also having a quarterback like Geno Smith, a guy that can push the ball down the field. You got Brock Bowers. They brought in Jack Besh and Dante Thornton. They got Jacoby Myers. They got some weapons, and some younger guys that have to prove themselves. But it's an offense that should be growing as the 2025 year, we get into the season. So I think Ashton Jeanty sticks at 1 because I think he's going to get a lot of volume in this offense, Keith.
Yeah, no, I definitely see that. I probably flip it, DP, and this is. We're ranking this based off of landing spots, right? Like it's not a talent thing, so I'm not. This is based off of spots, and the reason I go Omarion Hampton at 1, is because of the Chargers' offensive line. If you go from left to right, it's ridiculous, right? You're talking about Rashawn Slater, Jamari Sawyer, was a guy from Boston College. Then you have Joe Alt, right? And it's a loaded offensive line. Like it should be one of the best offensive lines in all of the NFL next year. And you're talking about with Jim Harbaugh. So I don't think it's more, and like we said, it's landing spot. So it's about what are the surrounding pieces. And for a running back, you need a good offensive line, right, to be able to create and do some things for you. And I think it fits Omarion Hampton's style of running as far as that downhill, want to get his pass north and south, and then, 6 foot, 225 pounds. So I went with Omarion Hampton 1, but I agree with you with Ashton Jeanty coming in number 2. Like he's clearly the guy, right? And when they take you, top 10, number 6 overall, then that means that you're going to be a heavy X factor, right? Like you got drafted in the same range as the Bijan Robinsons and the Saquon Barkleys, right? So
you got drafted higher, actually.
Yeah,
you got higher than Bijan.
Yeah, you got drafted higher than Bijan, so expect a similar type of workload. For me, DP, number 3 was tough for me because I battled between 2 guys, and I'm gonna go with Quinshon Judkins, and I think that with the Cleveland Browns. To me, the Cleveland Browns drafted 2 running backs. Right? I believe they drafted him, and then it was Dylan Sampson, I believe.
Sampson. Yep.
To me, that's a clear sign that they're moving on from Nick Chubb, right? Like Nick Chubb won't be back. They have their bell cow back, and then they kind of have their kind of scat back type of situation with Dylan Sampson. With Dylan Sampson, right? So I look at Quinshon, and I think he's going to be the bell cow guy. And the question would be is that once he doesn't have to split reps, right, and he can get majority of the carries, the 20, 25 carries a game, do we see that 100+ yard guy? Do we see this version of Quinshon Judkins? And I think we do. So that's why I'm gonna go with Quinshon Judkins at the number 3 hole, just because I think that the production is going to be there. We're going to he screams to me, we're going to watch Sunday football, and announcer is going to say, this guy gets better as the game goes on, right? Like he gets stronger.
Those old cliches,
he's going to fit that 100%. So I'm gonna go with Quinshon at number 3.
I like that, Keith. I before I go to my number 3, I'm going to go back to Omarion Hampton. Are you worried about, at least from a rookie year standpoint, in terms of usage out the gate? Are you worried about the presence of Najee Harris? They gave him like $9 million, I think, as a 1-year deal. You know, he's a good back. He's not a great back, but he's a good back. Greg Roman he's used to having multiple good backs in his backfield. Are you worried about them kind of maybe splitting carries just as a rookie in a rookie situation?
Yeah, but what I kind of foresee happening, and it's crazy because of Najee Harris's size, right? What, 6'1", 230, 40 pounds, right? Big dude. But he almost runs like a 5'10", 195 pound running back, right? I'm talking about as far as like he rather push the perimeter, right? Like he rather make people miss in space for most of the time, you know, just things like that. Like it almost like he views himself as an elusive back more than a power back. I think in this scheme with Harbaugh, they're gonna split the carries, like not split the usage, right? Like Omarion Hampton is going to be the running back, and I think Najee can potentially be the third down guy, and then he'll come in and he'll catch the ball out of the backfield because he is a good receiving back, and then also, you know, just do different things on the perimeter. So I think they'll have roles. I'll say that they'll split the roles, and I think that'll kind of be clearly defined just because the running styles are so different.
Yeah, I think 2026, like it's going to be Omarion Hampton show 100%. I wouldn't be surprised. I did an article on Bleacher Report talking about the rookies that might not start but should. And Omarion Hampton was the first guy listed on that list. It was like, listen, no disrespect to Najee. I think Najee probably starts out as they give him the veteran kind of, you know,
kind of nod.
The nod in that sense. And then we get to week 6, 7, or 8, and it's like, oh yeah, Omarion Hampton, they're riding the hot hand. He's the guy game to game that's more, he's a more explosive back. He gives you more bang for your buck, more juice, more acceleration, more speed, and big playability with the football in his hand. So I definitely think towards the back stretch of the season, of the 2025 season, it could potentially be the Omarion Hampton show after that. But I kind of like the role that you talk about, Keith. For me, so Quinshon, spoiler, he's 4 for me. He's the number 4. I have Kaleb Johnson at 3. Okay. I think Kaleb Johnson, I know they got Jalen Warren, they brought him back. But for me, he was on my list as well when I wrote that article. Listening to and reading the reports of how Mike Tomlin views him and how kind of excited he was about adding him to this team, what he really loved about him. I think getting him and bringing in, he's 6 foot, 6'1", somewhere like 225. I think he ran like a 4.57 in the 40, but light feet, power runner, guy that works the zone game well, reads and works through congestion. I think he's the guy that I don't view Jalen Warren as like that bell cow. You know what I mean? I feel like he's more the change of pace guy, things of that nature. Kind of how it was with him and Najee, even though he ran a little bit harder than Najee, kind of that muscle hamster type of role, that Doug Martin type of build. I think once they get Kaleb rolling, I don't think they stop the truck. I think they press the foot on the gas. And also, I think once Kaleb's in there, you look at what Aaron Rodgers is going to be the quarterback, but you look at the receivers, I don't think whoever's at running back, and I think it eventually will be Kaleb Johnson, he won't see many stacked boxes, right? Like, because you got DK, you got Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, Roman Wilson, and Calvin Austin. You got to worry about those receiving threats that they have in Pittsburgh. Now it's all about, hey, Aaron, are you coming in here to just fresh off your darkness retreat, or are you coming in to play football? right? As long as
Right.
as long as Aaron Rodgers throws the ball and is efficient in that regard, I think Kaleb Johnson, once he gets going, can absolutely roll because you're not going to really be able to load the box with all those. But that speed and then big time playmaking ability down the field, yeah, I think he's going to be in for a big year. They let him go.
Yeah, I agree with that. DP, let's keep this going, man. We're talking running backs 4 through 7 coming up next. Yes, we're ranking landing spots for running backs. What are the expectations? Who's going to produce well? Who's going to produce early and often? We're going to talk about that. Running backs 4 through 7 coming up next.
There's nothing like the atmosphere of an NBA playoff game. Every bucket, every defensive stop, every moment feels huge. It's electric in the arena, and with Game Time, you can be a part of it without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. Game Time makes it fast and easy to get playoff tickets even when demand is sky high. Prices on the app actually go down as tip-off gets closer, and their last-minute deals can save you up to 60% off. The all-in pricing means no surprise fees at checkout. What you see is what you pay. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Use the redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Ranking the top 10 running backs for the 2025 NFL draft post-draft. Keith, 4, you had him at 3. Quinshon Judkins, for everything you said, I have Quinshon right there. Only thing I worry about with them is just like, man, the quarterback situation. What are we, like? We're hoping that they make the right decision and let one of the young guys figure it out. And because again, you got 2 first-round picks next year, right? Like we just went over BR's, the 2026 mock on Monday, Keith, and by the Super Bowl odds, the Browns have 2 top 10 picks. So it's like you need, in that case, if that's the odds, you better figure out who's the quarterback. Or if you have a guy that you view as the quarterback on the roster, I think that could be a little bit of a hiccup for the run game because then teams will try to load the box, things like that. Like if it's Kenny Pickett, I'm out. I am out on it. I don't know. Joe Flacco, sure. I've seen Joe Flacco be able to play some good ball, even at his elder age right now. I think he's close to 40. Joe Flacco is at this point. But I would like to see Shador or Dylan Gabriel be the guy, during the season. Get one of these young guys and figure it out so you can get a quarterback that can force teams to respect the passing game. You just brought in they just signed Deontay Johnson. Yesterday, Keith. So they signed him to a 1-year deal. You got Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, David Njoku. You drafted Harold Fanning Jr. This offense isn't that bad from a skill position standpoint. Now it's who's the trigger man, and I think that's the biggest conundrum and we won't figure that out until probably week 1 of the season. Like I could probably foresee it be like, yeah, we're gonna keep it close to the vest and we'll see what happens in this week 1, but I have him at 4. Keith, who do you have at your RB4 right now post-draft?
Yeah, we flip-flopped, right? I have Kaleb Johnson at 4, and I don't need to go into dissertation. I think you did a good job outlining that situation. Like I said, Jalen Warren was the only guy that I was kind of concerned about, but I'll go to number 5. Number 5, I put RJ Harvey there. I like him with Sean Payton, and I talked about it in the past, just the running backs that Sean Payton has dealt with. And I've also talked about RJ Harvey, right? How I believe he's one of those running backs that potentially he may have the best feet in all of the class. Just a silky smooth guy, jump cuts, just being able to string together moves. I could see him, Bo Nix in a shotgun, him having, kind of those creases to be able to get into. And then he's explosive. He ran what I believe a 4.4 at the NFL Combine. So he shows that he has the home run speed. So I have RJ Harvey at number 5 for me.
Keith, at number 5, I got TreVeyon Henderson over going into New England. Ramondre Stevenson, which as a talent, I love him. He's a strong runner. He catches the ball in the backfield. He has been having fumble issues for the past couple of years now, past couple of seasons. Even when Belichick was there, he would get benched for almost an entire game because he fumbled to put the ball on the ground. Yeah. So I think with bringing TreVeyon Henderson, they got him at the top of the second round. He was drafted right after Quinshon, or maybe a couple picks after Quinshon. The speed that he brings, big time home run hitting speed, but also the passing ability to catch the ball in the backfield, be a playmaker in space. I think you're going to see a lot. And granted, I think they're going to be a nice 1-2 punch. I think that long as Ramondre holds on to the football, we get a thunder lightning combo in New England, where Mike Vrabel's coming in. They're bringing back Josh McDaniels, and I could absolutely see TreVeyon Henderson catching 80 passes this year. Like, I truly can see them, because remember all the different running backs that they've had over the years when Tom Brady was there, the Danny Woodheads, the James Whites, like all those pass catching space running backs, and he, in terms of TreVeyon Henderson, is a far better runner than any of those kind of space satellite backs they ever had. Like, he's a much Deion Lewis and everything like that. Like, TreVeyon's a much better runner and runs harder with better speed and athleticism. So it's like, man, like, you put him in this offense, and where he's coming in as kind of the RB2, I think that, I don't know if Ramondre fixes these fumbles. So I think TreVeyon's got a chance to end up taking that job from him, not just long term, but probably this year sometime. But that speed and that ability to just be a dump off guy, screen, he's really good in the screen game. He showcases some functionality as a route runner. I think that he's going to have a nice role in New England to really make some impact plays. Keith, after him at 6, I actually have RJ Harvey. I have RJ Harvey at 6. I like everything you said. Sean Payton, and Sean Payton knows how to use his running backs. The only thing with me with him is just like, is he an every down back? And it's like, you know what I mean? I was like, do you pair him? I got to look at their roster real quick. But like, do you pair him with a more of a power back to handle some of the between the tackle stuff? That's the only thing with him at times. Because I forgot they got Audric Estime. So yeah, they do have a power back. They Jaleel McLaughlin, he's like 5'7", 187. I think RJ Harvey immediately takes his spot. And then you have Audric Estime at 5'11", 227. He could be the hammer on those short downs, because at times when I watch RJ Harvey, because of how elusive and laterally explosive his cuts were, he would turn down that 2 to 3 yard run and try to jump cut outside. And it's like, for me, anytime I see a back do that, I always go back to Reggie Bush. I'm like, you did that at USC so well. And once he got to the league, it was like, yo, like, these linebackers run 4.4. Like, they're 4.4, and the run gaps and the run discipline is much better than in college, where you're dealing with, kids. So I want to see him just be more disciplined and like, you know what? I'm gonna just put my head down, get the 3 yards, get what's blocked, and go for it. Because you start jump cutting too much and trying to hit the perimeter, now you're going east and west. You're not gaining yards, and now you're getting caught for minimal games or for a loss. So that's the only thing for me. I think Sean Payton will probably use him a lot in the passing game. I think they'll use him a whole lot in the passing game.
Yeah, no, I think that he's going to thrive, right? You talk about passing game, but Sean Payton's offenses are notorious for a screen game too, right? And he should be a guy that should be really good at doing that. I'm going to look at one other running back DP before we transition. I'm going to go Cam Scatterable with the Giants. You're talking about being a hammer, right? And then they have Tyrone Tracy. I know he was your guy from last year's draft. And he played well this past year, right, as a rookie. And he gets to come in and be the hammer, right? Potentially be the bell cow back and let Tyrone Tracy kind of play his role. So I think you're talking about another tandem situation. And if you get Cam Scatterable in New York running through people's faces, right, it's going to remind you of like the Brandon Jacobs days, right, where he's running through people.
Ahmad Bradshaw.
Yeah, those type of situations, and kind of get a little blast from the past. But real quick, I want to say this too. With the not Quinshon Judkins, why am I blanking on the teammate? Henderson? Yeah, with Henderson, you know who this reminded me of? And Mike Vrabel, obviously him being the head coach, he was there, he played with this guy. This reminded me of Kevin Falk, getting him a pass catching back out of the backfield. Like, that's what it reminded me of, those early days when it was Kevin Falk, Corey Dillon. Then they went and got Lawrence Maroney and things like that. So that's what that reminded me of early on.
Blast from the past, baby. A blast from the past, Keith.
Yep.
No, I love the Scatterable call out. I love the Scatterable call out. That NFC East is going to have some nice physical battles with some of the running backs they've added, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that whole dynamic between Cam and Tracy end up playing out, because Cam's not the best athlete, but he's so physical and he catches the ball in the backfield. So I'm on par with you on that.
Yep. Well, DP, let's do this. Let's keep this thing flowing, man. And I think I have some surprise picks for running backs 8 through 10 when we talk about landing spots. I'm going to go deep into the draft, but I think these guys can showcase well because there's a clear role for them. Let's talk about that coming up next. Running backs 8 through 10.
Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more, experts ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI, web development, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. If you need help with that marketing campaign you're working on, Upwork can connect you with a freelance expert who has delivered incredible, and I mean incredible, results. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's UPWORK.com, Upwork.com, to connect with top talent and grow your business today. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. Running backs 8 through 10. Keep that number 8 for me. I doubled down with the Cleveland Browns. I picked Dylan Sampson. And I was like, well, I think because you talk about roles, I think he's going to absolutely have, like I said, going 2 running backs in the 2025 NFL Draft almost signifies like we're not bringing back Nick Chubb. Like he's coming off back-to-back like injuries, leg injuries. You know what I mean? And I think for them, they go and get Quinshon to be the hammer. And I wonder if they try to treat it like how Ohio State treated it, right? That's right there, kind of somewhat in their backyard over there in Ohio. Be able to see Quinshon handle the early down stuff, the physical, tone setter early in games. Also be the clock drainer in the fourth quarter if you got a 10-point lead and you want to keep Joe Burrow, which I don't foresee them having a 10-point lead against the Cincinnati Bengals. But, if they had a 10-point lead for some reason and you want to keep Burrow off the field, you can run Quinshon. But I think Dylan Sampson will bring in that change of pace speed, similar to TreVeyon Henderson, also catching the ball in the backfield. He didn't catch it a whole ton at Tennessee. They didn't throw it to him a lot. But I do think that he's definitely capable of handling that type of role and just being the big play guy. Even though both of these dudes, I think Dylan Sampson ran 4.4, low 4.4, I think at his pro day. We know that Quinshon ran like a 4.46, 4.48 at like 220. So it's like, well, if he's 210, maybe he hits a 4.44. You know what I mean? Or 4.3 or whatever, 4.43. So I think Dylan Sampson, I got him at 8, Keith.
Yeah, I'm going to start in the 6th round, DP. I told you I was getting deep into my bag, but the running back class, right? We talked about how deep it was. So even 6th round picks, I think that there's an opportunity for these guys to play. I'm going to start with Ollie Gordon. Him going to Miami, he's the biggest back, point blank period, right? So he should be the in-between the tackles guy. Then I'm going to transition to the New Orleans Saints, Devin Neal. Keandre Miller has not been able to be who they thought he was going to be when they drafted him in the 3rd round. And I think and this guy plays a totally different position, but Cameron Kinchins, how the draft process was mean to him. Like it just wasn't good for him, right? And then he got to the NFL and played well. I see the same thing for Devin Neal. I could see Devin Neal playing like a 3rd round running back. I could see him coming in clearly as the backup running back and getting significant snaps because he is a good football player. And then I'm going to end it off with Khalil Mullings, and the same reason for the Ollie Gordon situation. The Tennessee Titans have Tajay Spears and they have Tony Pollard. They need a big in between the tackles back, and I could see Khalil Mullings stepping in and doing it.
No, I mean, and those are very good, choices, especially like you said, the roles that they would end up playing for their teams, right? And the Mullings one, I think that he could right now with Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears. If the Titans get into the red zone, I think both those backs come off the field. They go under center and they hand the ball off 3 times to him, and they let him just run straight behind the offensive line and create his own run lanes, and just get to the end zone, right? He'll be somebody that pisses off a lot of fantasy players because he's like, man, he might not get the 200 carries, but he might have 15 rushing touchdowns because he's the guy coming in at the goal line and on those short yardage situations. So I like that call out, Keith. At number 9, I have Woody Marks out of USC going to the Houston Texans, and I think pairing him with Joe Mixon, and I think they're still going to be running that kind of wide zone offense. Damian Pierce wasn't a great fit for that. He's more of a downhill gap scheme type of guy. I feel like they should have went ahead and truly traded him to a team that wants to run more gap or downhill stuff, or got a team that wants to be more versatile in their run concepts. But I think Woody Marks and his ability, I think he caught over 200 passes in college. That's going to be valuable in the backfield, third downs. Like you can, granted, because Joe Mixon catches the ball as well. It's not like he can't catch the rock, but you got a guy that truly specializes in that. So like you already have that special trait of just being a reliable pass catcher in the backfield, satellite back, guy that can make guys miss in space, good burst and acceleration in open field, right? That he's got a decent build as well. Like we know he can carry the rock as well, but it's like that third down role, that change of pace back is a perfect role for Woody Marks. I think he can have a really good impact on this Houston Texans offense. And at number 10, Keith, Bashul Tootin. And I know people are like, man, DP's going to the Jags. Like they got they got Travis Etienne, they got Tank Bigsby. They didn't pick up Travis Etienne's fifth-year option. That lets me know he is off the roster after the season. Tank Bigsby, who, Keith, that was one of my guys coming out of Auburn. He's been okay when they've given them some run. They got it. The O-line hasn't been great, but I think Bashul comes in with a trait. Like they have a type. All those guys are similar builds and everything like that. Bashul brings that home run hitting speed, and he runs much harder than what Travis Etienne has ever done. Now, Travis is a better pass catcher out of the backfield, but I absolutely think Bashul Tootin, I think he also does some special team stuff in terms of returning as a punt or kick returner. So either way, I think he's a guy that has a role in this team. And if they maybe, you don't really see running back trades midseason, but maybe a team gets an injury, they need an RB, and we might end up seeing either Tank Bigsby or Travis Etienne traded midseason before the deadline and really opening up even more opportunities. I think Bashul Tootin could potentially be one of the backs of the future for the Jaguars.
No, I like that too, and because I thought about the same thing. I'm like, man, they drafted 2 running backs in the past 3-4 years, really high. Because we thought even when they drafted Tank Bigsby, we was like, that's kind of redundant, right? As far as body type and skill set and things like that. But when teams tell you via the draft what they plan on doing, you just have to believe them, right? And it seems like both of those guys, I don't want to say on a chopping block, right? But they're not happy with both of those guys to say that they spend high draft capital on both of them. And that's why you see a Bashul Tootin go there. And I think he's going to get every opportunity to be successful, right? You're talking about a new head coach coming in, right? He's not married or, tied to the players in the past. He's going to give the best player the opportunity to go ahead and play. But DP, that wraps up another episode, man, of the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast. I want to end this podcast off by saying shout out to our everydayers. Thank you for tapping in with us each and every single day. Every listen is greatly appreciated here over at Locked On NFL Draft. I am Keith Sanchez. You can find me on X at The Talent Code. That right there is my guy, my co-host, Mr. Damian Parson. You can find him on X at DP_NFL. And like we like to say, man, y'all can talk to us because we like to talk back.
Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. On tomorrow's show, we're going to keep this train going. We're going to talk about the top 10 wide receivers post-draft. Who fell to the right situations? How will we rank them? Come and join us again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network. Oh, man, I messed that up. I messed that up. Yeah, okay. And we're going to keep this train going on tomorrow's show. We're going to talk about the top 10 wide receivers post-draft with their landing spots. We know what team they're on. We're going to talk about where these guys have landed and who's in the right situations. But come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.